two tunnel entrances sit carved into this North Korean hillside. They weren't here in earlier imagery, and they don't stay exposed for long. Over the early 2000s, the portals appear and remain visible for years. Then something changes. A large building is constructed directly over the exact spot where the tunnels sit. Why build on top of them? We're going to walk the timeline and see what forced this site to change. Let's go back to the earliest imagery. Here it is in 2003. And you can see that there's nothing even there. And I want you to take note of everything around it and the condition. (2012) is the next set of imagery, and you can start to see some change here. Hard to see something there, but you can see the entrance is kind of barely visible. 2014. Same 2014, just later in the year. What do you think those are? And here we get a little bit of a more downward angle on them. 2014. 2 years later, 2016. The shininess stands out, and the best imagery of all that where we started, 2017. You can see here, this is 2019 again. Seems like stuff starts to change here. Now in 2020, we finally have a building show up. So something is covering where these tunnel entrances were. Going back in time, just remember that. Now we have a building. The area around is improving more so than most places in this country, as you can tell. And if you look around, this area stands out a little bit. Maybe this is where the workers live who work in this facility. I bet you this is some type of research facility. It doesn't really look like trucks and stuff should be going in and out. They're at least big ones, you know. But I don't know. But you can definitely tell that they've put something over the top of those two entrances. This is 2022. 2023. I think this is the most recent imagery that we have. Yeah, we have no more. And take a look at how this area has changed. I'm going to go back and forth. Look at the infrastructure upgrade that's happened around here. Looks like they have food here, better food supply. The buildings are more built up than other areas around. They have paved roads. Very interesting. Let me pop back to 2003. Look at that. Then we're going to go to modern. Look at the upgrades. I'd love to know what you think about that. Let's look and see what ArcGIS has to offer. In this one, you have to kind of zoom out to get the years to pop up. I think the farthest back we can get is 2014, I believe. Yep. So Google is better, but this will just give us a little bit of different imagery. Again, look at the state of everything. This is actually more recent than Google. This is 2025. Google stops at 2023. And everything just looks nice. 2014. 2017. You can see those tunnels there. 2018, you get a good shot of them. Something. A lot of infrastructure updates around this facility or supposed facility. And now there's a building there. So I'll just keep it up above here a little bit for the rest. I wonder if this is the old spot or something. 2022. So that's it. And so you really, ArcGIS really gives you a modern look at the place. This is 2025. And there was nothing available on historical aerials, so I'll skip that one. And I want to bring back a point. Let's do a little look at let's do a comparison of a random spot. We're going to zoom out and zoom in. We're going to do this completely random and see if we can tell some differences. Now look at these. Look at these houses compared to where we were just looking. Look at the infrastructure. This is just a random spot we dropped down. The other stuff looks more updated to me. Here's some more infrastructure up near the border. Along the river. Obviously more remote, but it also, these are the types of houses that are in other places. Let's start to take a look at some of the infrastructure. Looks like they got some kind of power or something's going on over here. And what really sticks out about this area more so than the tunnels is the homes around here. It looks like paved roads. These people must be very high up. Maybe that's some kind of hydroelectric generator. And it looks like each one of these places has access to their own food source. Think about that in this country. It looks like they got a lot of power here. And then let's kind of look down. You can't see this one until you get low down at the ground, right? But they got some kind of fire line or some kind of cut right here. That's what made me think that little area over there is maybe the old area, or who knows what this is. Maybe that's just a fire line. Maybe there's a cable running through here. I don't know. It stuck out a little bit. But I just find this so interesting, this little cluster of buildings here. And again, I didn't mention it there at the fire line part, but look at the location. So it's right at the base of this little mountain. Maybe it's here. Maybe it goes under this whole thing, if that's even an entrance. Looks like a pretty good location though. And the other thing that I think is so cool about this is they must be taking these tactics from someone, you know, because earlier in their time here, they had tunnels and they've upgraded it to have a building over top. Who does that? We do, the United States. They've gotten really good at this. If this earlier imagery wasn't available, you wouldn't even know. You'd have no idea. You'd think maybe this is just a nicer part of North Korea. Maybe this is where, you know, important people live. But it's interesting that the building is there on top of where those used to be, which leads me into the speculation part of this. I just right away think those are some kind of tunnel. If you compare that to old infrastructure in the United States, that's old school to me. And now they've put a building over the top of it. And you can kind of see that happening early in 2019. Here's May of 2019, December 2019, and by October of the next year, there's a building there. Something's kind of happening here. As always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think this is. Let me know what you think the purpose may be. And if there's any locations that you have that are interesting and you want us to look at, drop them on the community map. And there's also a Discord if that's your type of thing. Stay above it, take care, and thank you. Bye.